Alright, welcome to another episode of After the Close. It is August expiration, everybody. Happy summer. This is for the third month in a row we're doing my live podcast.
Awesome.
So we have Mr. Chris Celletti, former guest, and Mr. Kevin Cushley, also a former guest. How are you guys?
Good, man.
Awesome.
Great.
I'm happy to be back.
Great,
Returning
thanks.
champions.
Returning champions. It is becoming a interesting ticket. People want to know, are they going to come back? That is a real thing that I've gotten to know. Like, people are like, oh, you're going to have, like, that guy back? He was cool.
Yeah.
So, consider yourselves lucky.
Were they talking about us specifically, or
Just
other?
a general comment.
We're gonna throw like one stick in the ground, and I'm gonna say one of you got asked about,
okay. All right,
and
awesome.
we'll see which one of you actually, deserves it more. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
There we go. Thank you.
I'll take it.
So, and we're calling this this is the second annual summer vacation on location episode of After the Close, because we were here just about a year ago.
Pretty much exactly.
Yeah, and we got like a lovely background last time of all the
that's right.
all the Jersey Shore signs and stuff we had in the background last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this time I'm hunkered down in a garage because this is the best we could pull off this year, but it still works.
It still works. Yeah.
And then you edit me.
And then we added you.
It's like when you got your pin to the back now.
There you go.
You lost something to gain. I lost something.
Yeah, whatever. And and another first is, well, I guess you can't have can you have a first, second annual? I don't know.
We'll go with it.
Ooh.
Sure. We can go with it.
That's confusing. It's a little early for me for that, but yeah, I know what you mean. This is the
first, second
this is
annual.
the sequel.
Mm-hmm. We have 2 guests this month, so this is the first time I'm doing this. So I got to coordinate 3 people. Was a masterful just triumph on a family vacation to get 3 families to triangulate our schedules to get an hour or so to ourselves is something.
It's a logistical nightmare doing anything with all these families on vacation.
Oh
So to pull this
Absolutely
off,
terrible.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Especially when I have an agent that doesn't allow me to do anything.
Okay, fair. That's a good word choice. Good word choice. Yeah.
I have to be careful with that because
Yeah.
I understand. We're all there. We came up from North Carolina. You guys already live in Jersey. So what was your commute like to get here? Was it horrendous?
So it was not for us. It was not horrendous. We came on Saturday, which is like the traditional kind of move in, move out day. Although I know not to silly, but you guys came on Sunday. You're a Sunday to Sunday rental. So Saturdays is usually the bigger traffic day because most of the rentals are like Saturday to Saturday rentals. So. So we came from Hoboken, which is about if there was no traffic, which there really is, literally always
traffic.
But if there wasn't, it'd be about a 2-hour drive.
Okay.
But we came down. We were lucky that we had a friend who also lives in Hoboken. They have a house down here, and they're here for most of the summer. So they invited us to come down on Saturday a little bit earlier, and we could hang with them to wait for our house to be so we can check into our house. So it took us about 2.5 hours, which is really not.
That's on par. That's what you would expect it to be. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, that's on like the lower end of the spectrum than what I would expect. I'm always like, if it takes us 3 hours, like that's
sure.
And if we hit some traffic, but all things considered, 2.5 hours about maybe 240 was not too bad. So,
are your kids good in the car? Like, can you handle a car ride with the kids?
Yes, for the most part.
Yeah.
I think 3 hours is probably our limit. And
Okay.
It's violence and mayhem.
Yeah.
People throwing things.
I did 13 and a half hours to get up here. And it was
with 3 children.
With 3 children, and yes, a newborn, a toddler, and like I guess a tween, a pre-tween, whatever you call that. Yeah, that was something. We made a new record for ourselves in terms of how long it actually took. We ended up on the bad end of things.
Really?
Yeah. You get all the normal bullshit that comes with driving. We get the traffic from an accident. We get the traffic because it's raining. We get the traffic because just people don't know they drive with their heads up their ass.
Yep.
It's just a lot of that.
Yeah.
So we made the journey. We survived it. It's become known in our house that 24 hours to get up here every year is the worst 24 hours of the year.
Yeah.
Because I got to start packing the car the night before.
Right.
And it's 90 degrees, humid, and I'm out there just like shoving stuff into the trunk, trying to make it work, playing that game of Tetris, and the kids are bothering me. It's now 10 p.m. and I'm still out there doing it, and we gotta get on the road at 6 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah.
It is the worst 24 hours.
Yeah. For us, it doesn't really start the night before. I mean, this is my choice. Like, I packed the morning of because, like, I knew we weren't leaving at the crack of dawn. So it's like, I'll have time. It's fine. So yeah, like yours is like it actually affects like it's like a 2-day process.
It's a multi-day.
It's a multi-day process. For us, it's just the one day. We know we're gonna be sitting in the traffic. My daughter's like okay in the car, but then she's like a kid, so like she's okay for a little bit, and then she like hits a wall, and then she's just complaining like when are we gonna get there? Asking him every 5 minutes.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
So and I think she's a city kid too, so we walk a lot of places. We're not in the car. A lot of when we are, it's a lot of short trips. Even through the car.
Right.
Mostly short trips. I mean, sure, weekends we go to family and stuff, but we don't do too many long car rides. So like 2.5 hours, for her is like that's on the higher end of the spectrum for her. So
I know, I get what you're saying. My kids used to be city kids, and now it's getting kind of fading away from their like psyche. So the shorter car rides feel easier for them because they do it a lot more now.
Right.
Walking, totally gone. They don't want to walk anywhere now. It's like somebody's going to complain after 3.5 steps. Guaranteed. Not even close.
Yeah.
You got boys.
I have 2 boys, and I don't want to brag. It was about an hour 15 down.
Okay.
They're both beach kids, so they're super pumped the entire way. We also took 2 cars.
Oh,
So I took my oldest who's 6. My little guy who's 3 went with my wife, and it was rocked out. Some summer tunes and hung out. It was a good time.
That's nice.
You guys go to the beach. So for us, going to the beach now is like the event of the year because we don't live by the ocean anymore.
Yeah.
We did for like years and years and years, but now like we're away from it. So to get to the beach, it's like this is what we're doing. Like this is our, like this is we're on our way to get this done because this has been the point of the endeavor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For like. There was a point there where you should be like, let's go to the beach for 3 hours.
Right.
Let's just go hang out. It's Saturday, we're bored, let's go to the beach for 3 hours. You guys do that stuff? Yeah. That's,
I mean, I'm 15 minutes on a bad day. So like I'll go early in the morning. I haven't done it really this summer. Last summer we were pretty much all Saturdays and Sundays we would go like 8:30, 9:30 and go play on the playground, run around, maybe go in the water if not, when it starts getting a little busy. Head back home and call it a day.
Yeah. That's what I miss about because we used to be closer to the beach, before I moved up to Hoboken, and that's not like it's not that far. You can make it to the beach in 45 minutes, an hour, but again, it's like it's a traffic thing. If you don't leave early, you're sitting in a ton of traffic. So we do so few like just beach days. Like we'll go down for the day because it's like it's a project, especially with a kid. You've got to like have all the stuff, and then it's like, is it worth driving like an hour 15 minutes in a bunch of traffic to then where are we going to park? This whole thing, and then it's like to go for a couple hours and come back. So we don't do a lot. So it's similar, even though we live in Jersey and like technically we're pretty close to the beach. We don't do day trips really. So this is kind of it too. This is like our summer. This is like when we go to the beach during the summer. So
yeah. No, I can see how that works out because you're really like, you're right in the city basically.
Pretty much.
I mean, you're in a very urban area. You're in the suburbs.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of like, oh, let's just hop over there.
Yeah. I don't take a major highway to get there, so it's kind of like one of those things. Like
I don't know,
all
back streets.
Yeah, it's like I don't really have an excuse not to.
Right.
It's
But you commute into the city every day for work.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like, so you're not like so far away.
No.
Like, but the point I'm making is like, it's odd how the city kind of is this odd blocker, even though as the crow flies, it's not that much different.
No, it's not. It's just the logistics to get there and the highways you have to take and stuff and getting in and out. And again, if it's a Saturday or Sunday in the summer, like you're not the only person trying to get to the beach for the day. So if you don't leave early, you're sitting in the traffic, and then coming back up, you can be sitting. So it's you have to do that calculus, and then you add on top of it having a kid, and it's the summer, so it's birthday parties, family events, this, that, weekends book up, and then you look and you're like, we don't have any days to go to the beach. We're gonna go when we go down for the week. That's it.
That's it. That's what happens. Absolutely. I have really thought hard about whether we would do a day in the city while we were here. Like, should we make a point of getting up to New York City? And you're like, I think we got a no out of this guy.
Yeah, I think so.
We're not making it into the city this year. Last year when we were here, we made a point. We went up to. Okay. We were in South Street Seaport. We went to the Barbie restaurant or whatever. Right. Like we made a day of it. We really made a point to get into the city because that's the only chance we're gonna get into that same vein of like, this is it. This is what we got to make it count.
You're
so like have you guys? I guess you're saying don't go to the city these days. That's really what
highly suggesting.
Highly suggested. Would you mind elaborating?
The PC version, it's a crap hole.
Okay.
All right. I mean, it's one of those things like, listen, you want to go with the wife, you want to go to have dinner, you want to go to a show, cool. You go with the kids, you're gonna have some explaining to do with
just things you'll end up seeing,
and like, especially go to Times Square and they got all the characters and stuff, and it's.
Yeah. Characters are sad in Times Square.
It's bad.
I used to cut through Times Square all the time on my commute because I would go from Madison Avenue to Port Authority. So I'd cut, and it's like Midtown, so I'd cut like right through Times Square, and it'd be like, what kind of mood am I in? Do I want to like walk through Times Square? Because it's a little bit faster. Right. But then I feel like I'm gonna, by the end of it, I'm gonna have a nosebleed for any number of causes. Right. Maybe it's a smell. Maybe somebody hits me in the face. Yeah. Maybe I just get aggravated. Yeah. I might have a nosebleed by the time I'm on the other side of it.
That's what I would say. I would say that it's like anything else. It really depends where exactly you are and what you do. So like you can definitely get in and out of the city and go to certain areas where you'd have less explaining to do.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you're going in with your kids and you think they want to go to like the M&M store in Times Square, like you're gonna be dealing with that.
Sure.
You're gonna be dealing with Times Square on a summer weekend with the tourists and the characters and the mess that is. Mm-hmm. So to me it depends on like you could go to parts of the city and have a completely good time. That's not
Okay.
It just depends on where you go. It's like anything else.
We're not going to get there. I mean, we're not country bumpkins who think going to the big city is like, we're not like, I don't have my like overalls on and walking down. Well, I'm not walking through the subway barefoot because I don't know any better. But I was in the city for years and years and years. I just understand that bringing the kids to the city is a big difference.
Right. What are you going to do?
The calculus of that is very different.
Yeah. Do you want to explain like Dora the Explorer and Spider-Man are having a fist fight in the middle of Times Square? Like it just doesn't make sense. Like it's one of those things that, like you don't want to.
Right. Yeah.
Go or explaining anything on the subway.
Yeah, I haven't been on the subway for a while now.
It is impressive.
Impressive?
It is.
It's a word for it.
Go ahead.
Yes.
I was thinking because I took my daughter to the New York Liberty game, the WNBA team, and they play in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And it was that. I mean, like it was just my wife was away too, so just me and her, and I was like. Doing the whole like, all right, like I knew I wanted to take her to the game. It was like Saturday afternoon was perfect. My wife was away for the whole weekend, so I was looking for something to do to like something cool to do. And I was like, do I drive in? It's a weekend. Go drive into Brooklyn. Where do I park? How much is it going to cost to park? All this thing. And I was like, could do the subway. It was like it'd be 2 trains, like from the PATH train from Hoboken into the city, then like the D train all the way over to Brooklyn. And I was really like, do I want to do this with her? Like you're taking a chance. Like you don't know like what is going to happen on the subway, and it was ultimately fine. Like the worst we got was like somebody was just blasting their music.
That's also better.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely inappropriate. It was some rap or hip hop that was definitely inappropriate. Thankfully, my daughter's it's just over her head. Mm-hmm. So, but that was like the worst of it, which is really not bad for the New York City subway. But
sure.
I like. Absolutely, you're like it's calculus. I'm taking a chance. Like, do I drive? If I drive, I know I'm controlling the environment.
Yeah.
Even if the traffic sucks, we can play her favorite song 9,000 times, whatever, Or do we do the subway, which is going to be like a little, in that sense, like a little faster, but you're going to be dealing with, what the unknown of the New York City subway on a Saturday in the summer.
Yeah.
We lucked out, so it worked out. But I definitely could, I don't begrudge people for avoiding it. But especially with their kids, especially with kids.
Have you taken your kids into Have you ever taken your kids into New York? You're really like a staunch opponent of it.
So, I've taken my oldest to Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
Every year we do. Sounds really redneck. We go to the PBR, the Pro Bull Riding,
Why is that? I mean, can I come?
It's the weirdest thing. So my wife got these tickets to work.
Okay.
And it was really cool. And just to set up, it's Cowboys, Bulls, Horses, Madison Square Garden. And you walk around MSG and it's cowboy hats.
You had me at Cowboys.
I'm like, it's the most unbelievable thing. So we take our son, our oldest, every year, and he has a cowboy hat, and it's just like, it's one of those things, like, I don't really understand what's going on, but it's the craziest 6 seconds of your life.
Oh, for like to watch a guy, they do like real bull riding right there, like, oh my god, in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, there's
the videos on the ground, it's wild. So we do that every year, but...
Is it like packed? Like, is it like...
It's legit.
But so it's not, but they have like the whole thing, like, would something like that sell out?
So it's 3 or 4 days.
Oh, it's like a...
Like the first couple days, not so much, but like the championships, 100%. And like there's a cool like VIP section in the middle of the arena, like in the dirt. Like you can go, like it is wild. And then there's like a whole VIP like bar section.
It's like the middle of like a racetrack, but there's a small a smaller version of that.
It's just an open, like if they just threw dirt on here and they have like where the bulls come out and like dudes jump on.
Yeah.
Is that like growing in popularity? Because I didn't know that existed. I didn't know they did that mask. Is that like an annual thing? Was it like we're doing, or is it like you know, like the Super Bowl will jump from place to place to place?
Yeah.
And so if you have this,
it's a series. So they do it all over the place, but they do have one specific one at Madison Square Garden
every
year. Yeah, I feel like I've seen the ads for it and stuff like. Because I feel like when you watch Ranger games, they they hawk the tickets like on the broadcast. They're like coming back to the Garden. So I knew they've been doing it for I would say probably 8 or 10 years now, maybe even more.
I've done it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, it's been a little while since they did it.
I'm looking. So that's what you'll take them into the city.
So we drive in.
Okay.
We park across the street.
You're used to driving.
So I'm used to driving.
You're used to driving into the city.
Yeah, so I know that's a weird
I would have immediately thought to take like public transportation to beeline it in and be able to beeline it out.
Especially because the train right upstairs.
Right.
Like it's super easy. Like,
you know what's funny though? I can see. This is like a Sarah Palin line. I can see the Empire State Building from my street, but I truly can. And we drive into the city all the time.
Okay.
Sometimes
it can be done.
Sometimes, and it's like I wouldn't say all the time because again, I took her to.
I will just say this: it's really nice that the garbage man decided to come in the middle of the day while I'm recording.
You know what? At least they came.
Really?
Because I don't think they came, or I screwed something up with my garbage at our house this morning. So
it's
here.
It's fine. It's fine. But we're gonna press on.
We'll press on. Right. Again, for me, and my wife accuses me probably, truly. I'll give her that of overthinking things sometimes, but I'm very much with the logistics of like where are we going? What time
I will remind you that you're being recorded.
That's fine.
Continue.
It's where are we going? What time is it? Is it weekend? And what time? How crowded is the city going to be? Where exactly are we going? Can I drive? What's the parking like? I'll look. Can I find a garage spot on like Spot Hero or one of those things for cheap? Maybe I'll drive. It all depends on where we're going. So there's plenty of things I'll take my kid into the city for, and we'll just drive.
Okay.
And we'll because I'll know like street parking in this area is like doable. I should be able to find a street spot, whatever. So like even though I can walk 10 minutes, take the ferry.
Yeah.
Which takes 8 minutes to get to the city. Like I could be in the city in 20 minutes from my apartment. Sometimes we'll drive. It just depends on what we're doing, you know.
Fair enough. Yeah, I get it's the what you're doing that matters.
Yeah.
Because where you are in the city is a tremendous difference.
Exactly.
What transportations are near you? What is the overall environment? Like going down a financial district is not the same as being in Central Park at night, you know.
No, exactly.
So it does make a tremendous difference what you're going to do. Yeah. Generally speaking, the hardest part for me was when we had the stroller. We were in stroller mode. Like, I mean, you walk through World Trade Center, the Oculus, it is not stroller friendly.
No.
Generally speaking. I mean, there's an elevator here and there, but you gotta wait for it. I was just the guy who would muscle his way up. I just like, my wife would be like, "Oh, let's go find the." I'm like, "Nope," and I just grab the thing, and I just like
hold the kid. I'm just
don't even hold the kid. Just with the kid in. It's just like, what? Let's go. We're walking. We're walking. Yeah, like it's just we're doing it because it's like I'm not.
No, I know. Walk around. Like 100 feet, or not 100. Walk 500 feet this way to the elevator to go up, then to come back around.
Yeah, exactly. You get all these like weird like jutting out of the way and stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm used to being able to blow through like at rush hour commutes and stuff, just in and out, just making your connections and stuff. So like, no, just give me the kid. We're going up the stairs.
But that's part of the hustle and bustle of the city itself. Like that's like you'll have 1,000 people around you and everybody will stare at you like you're completely insane doing that. And then I don't know I feel like in the suburbs they're a little nicer and they might be like, oh, do you need a little help? Somebody just grabs the front of it and walks up with you. Mm-hmm. I think that's also a city thing where everybody's mind your own business now in the city.
Yeah,
and that's so it's like a weird catch-22.
It is, yeah.
I know exactly what you're driving at, and like it's spot on. So I'm 3 years into being in the suburbs. Yeah. After, we'll say 10 years of my more than that, over 10 years, depending on which city, over 10 years of urban life. And I'll tell you, yeah, the city is checkers, and like the suburbs is chess.
It's 100% true. It's wild.
It's because by the time you get it, the city is very like transitory, right? Like if you're in an apartment and then there's some weird guy next door to you, well, the lease rolls over end of the year, there's a decent chance he's going to move out and somebody else is going to move in. You're never going to see that motherfucker again, whatever. But when you're in the suburbs, you put your roots down and you know you're going to have to interact with these people over and over and over and over again. And like I know like I'm in a like people bitch about like maybe like a building that has like an HOA or something in the city. Yeah. Well, you have like subdivisions and whatnot where you can have an HOA and things like that, and like there's the PTA, there's the HOA, there's all these 3-letter acronyms that are gonna fuck you over when you're in the suburbs. That they're gonna make it just that much harder. And the trick, like I'm saying, is that you have to interact with people over and over and over again. Like when your kid is in kindergarten, you know you're probably going to be dealing with these same people through 8th grade. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Unlike that weird guy that you're next to, or the the person staring at you when you're in World Trade Center for 30 seconds. It's like
you like never see that person again.
Never see that person again. And honestly, there's probably some homeless guy taking a shit on the side of the thing anyway, who's going to draw attention to himself, and you're just going to scurry away when you have the stroller.
Yeah.
So that I'm learning to be very, very complex, I think would be the word usage, of getting through like that suburban life.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I know you've spoken before. Your wife's on the PTA, is that right?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. So is mine.
Your wife too?
Yes, she is.
So this is where I highlight the fact that I'm in some respects the woman of the relationship. I am the one who is involved with this. Yeah, I am the one who does it. My wife has no interest in being involved, but I like poke my nose around and know what's going on with all that stuff. Yeah.
I respect the decision for my wife being so she's involved and she understands like what goes on.
Okay.
And she in the relationship is definitely the more level-headed one. And with trending topics going on, I ask questions, and if I were to go to a PTA meeting, they might not be taken the correct way because maybe I don't know how to throw the question out. She'll ask, I'll bring it up to her, and she'll find out the proper answer that I want.
God bless her.
Yeah.
God bless her. Special way.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I mean, my wife. It's great. She loves to get involved in all that stuff. She's like class mom in our kids' kindergarten class this year, and then she like joined the PTA this year, and then right away she's like one of the officers. There's like 4 or 5 of them who kind of like run the PTA and then all the So she, but that's my wife, man. She's a striver. So she's like she wants to. She sees something, wants to go do it, and she goes and does it. So
Yeah, Well, first, I mean, I like to remind people, the third category on the masthead of Trader Dads is education. Like it's markets, education, and dad life around here.
Okay.
And so the education part is something I have teachers on. Like we talk about stuff. I have very like specific views on like how like the education of like kids, particularly like boys, I think, like in general, should be done, so to speak. So like when it comes to like the elementary schools where my kids go, like my attitude on many things, not just this specifically, but it's like I don't need to be like the president and like the focal point, but I do like to be able to press my thumb down and tip the scale a little bit. Like I want to be able to like course correct something if I don't like it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody else can run the situation, and I just want to monitor it and make sure it's going in a way that I tolerate, and then I'll just and I want to be able to maybe like pull it back if necessary.
Raise a concern.
You know? Right. I want to like be able to like point of order, so to speak. You know. So like I took that approach with like the school down there. Like I'm on the emails and stuff, and I was a volunteer, and then like when I was in between jobs, I was substitute teaching. Like I was a substitute teacher for my daughter's first grade class. Like I taught my daughter for a day.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, for like the really it was like an afternoon because like they move around.
Sure. Yeah.
But like I was the teacher in my daughter's classroom in all legitimacy. Like I had the name tag and everything. You know.
Yeah.
So I had to like do that. So I do take an interest in what's going on there to that degree. Like I've been in her classroom. I know where she is all day. I know who's interacting with her all day.
Yeah.
And they're fine. Like I'm very satisfied with it. So to my point, like I'm like it's just like carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on. Like it's fine. You're doing a good job. But I do take a real interest in knowing what's happening.
You just don't want to be like blindsided by anything or whatever.
Yeah, like I don't want to find out that like something weird's happening, or more so, it's more I want to have a strong point of reference on it. Like when my daughter says like X, Y, and Z happens, I was in that room. Like I have a spatial understanding of what she means. When she said like they moved my desk and now I sit next to so and so. Be like, oh, I remember like where she was sitting and now I understand what that means. Like it's like when you're in like the workplace, it's like shit, they put me next to like the smelly guy at work. So like I want to be able to empathize a little bit with what she's saying stuff. So that's something I do want to I do make a point to be involved with. You know.
Yeah.
So that's good with all the PTA stuff and everything. Like I'm always involved with it.
Yeah.
I'm saying I endorse it. Like just get on the fucking email chain. That's all you got to do. Yeah. Just be on the email. That's all I'm trying to say.
We had like in our kids kindergarten classes last year. We had like there was a WhatsApp group that had all the parents in it essentially. So there was a lot of and like my wife she was one of the class monitors too. So like they would message the whole class and say, "Oh, we're going to do this for the kids," and like collect a little money here and there or something. Right. So like you use it a lot for that, but like it's good that like you have that like you said, just be on the email chain or just be on the WhatsApp because that becomes a little community in and of itself. So like there's a lot of times where people use that group chat thing or the WhatsApp chat to like ask questions about stuff that aren't even school related, but it'll be like, oh, like does anybody? I'm signing my kid up for tennis. Does anybody want to? Is anybody else interested, or do you want to do it? And then, like, and you learn about some things that that you might not have heard about otherwise. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's good when you just find a good community that's like communicative like that. And then but then some things can pop up, and maybe you've got a question about it. But the only way to know is to be involved in that chat or the email chain or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like any number. If you can follow your favorite sports team on X or on whatever, and just like watch the news, like the feed go by, just so you have a kind of a sense of it. Yeah. You can do the same thing with like any number of things that your kids are dealing with.
Yeah,
like, you just like keep the feed on and just like know what's going on, and then you have at least a point of reference.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying you lift your finger because a lot of times it's just like. Oh, carry on.
Yeah. That's pretty much me on that chat. Yeah, but I have to scroll through it to see what's going on. I very rarely chime in, but like it's there. I know, it also helps you weed out who the the weird parents are.
I get it.
You're like,
who do I want to avoid?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
It's so hard, like going to these things, like like an ice cream party or something, and everybody's like so gung ho. I'm like, I just think I know my place this stuff. I'll be here. I support my kids, but
you do what you gotta do for the kids.
The small BS, but then like I'll see like the one dad that I've been like for baseball or something, like so dude.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, you find your people.
I walk in, I'm like. Look around, see who I got. I'm like, all right, cool, I got one.
Yeah. That's like the birthday party thing too. When it's like, you just do the one parent, one kid thing, and you're like, God, I hope there's somebody at this birthday party I can kill this 2 hours with. Otherwise, I'm like standing in the corner by myself.
So, are you the designated birthday party person who goes? Because I am.
You are?
Especially with anyone that it's like we don't know the parents yet. I'm the one who goes every time. Like I have to like.
I think it's either like rotator. It depends on what else the day has. What did you do this with? And we only have the one daughter, so it's like we never have to split up with multiple kids that one has this. So it's more so like what's the day like, what's the weekend like, and we'll kind of we'll work it out. But it's it's not a strict rotation, but it's sometimes me, sometimes my wife.
Yeah,
so we both do it.
The ones where you go to like a place, it's a trampoline park, it's the bouncy whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Those are not that bad because I kind of just like chill and like sit on the thing and work my phone. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like you say, you're hi, so are you? The worst are when have you ever gone to like somebody's house?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like I've had some rough experiences where it's like my kids is playing in like the living room and I'm sitting next to like fucking grandma, like eating our cake, like trying to make small talk with like an 82-year-old Greek woman, like, hey, how's it doing, lady? Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, why is this in like a 1,000 square foot apartment? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But here we are. We're gonna make the best of it for 90 minutes.
I love the all women one too. That's always fun.
The all women one?
Yeah. And you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Just in the corner.
I'll try to lean into that. Like, it's like, we're girl talking.
Yeah.
Girl talking. Like, I'll try to get in.
Yeah.
Just because it's like
as well at that point.
And most of it's just like I gotta entertain myself for
right.
You know, like I'm just gonna be like play around with it, and if for no other reason, the alternative is watching paint dry and stare at the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So
makes the time go by faster.
Yeah,
I'm just glad my wife is 100% the socialite, and I just kept to go.
Yeah.
I get it. That's part of me too. Like I glom on to somebody who's really social.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of like. It's like, cool, the same thing I said before, like, I go, carry on, do what you want.
Yeah.
All of those people, okay, they'll be my friends, that's fine.
That's fine.
You know, and then every once in a while I just want to press my thumb down and say, like, nah, let's bring it back. Let's maybe not see those people.
Right.
But, so I'm like that too.
Yeah. It's all information. You go to these things, you interact with people, you just take in the information, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and eventually you'll use that information.
You can sift through and see who you'll attract to.
Exactly.
I'm a little sorry. I'm like mild. So this is dropping August expiration, but today is August 6th. So we're recording this on August 6th, and so the market crashed yesterday, and we're recording this in the middle of the day. So like the stock markets are open, everything's trending and whatnot.
Right.
Yesterday was Monday the 5th, so that was the day Japan crashed, and then the Nasdaq crashed Monday morning, and so I'm like mildly distracted because I'm kind of keeping an eyeball on all the volatility and whatnot. Okay. So I'm just trying to see what's going on today.
Anything crazy?
So far we seem to be stabilizing. It looks like, but you know, it's an interesting situation. Yesterday I woke up and so I'm on vacation, and I have an open trading account. I better, right, given the name of this. And so I logged in, or I woke up, rolled over, knew it was Monday morning, but we're on vacation, and I hedged up my entire position, which you guys aren't the finance guys of this group. No, but basically, I hedged everything up in my portfolio so that this week, while I wasn't paying attention, good, better, and different, I'd be like, fine. Like, nothing was going to change. It was just kind of stable. But so then Japan crashed overnight, and we woke up this morning, and I saw my phone, and I was like, oh shit. So I pulled my whole laptop out yesterday morning to get on and make some trades and whatnot. So just kind of curious to see how things are following up on day 2.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this is going to drop August expiration. It's going to drop the 16th. So God only knows. You're going to be hearing this, and I could sound really. I don't want to get into what happened because I might sound really smart by the 16th, or I might sound really stupid by the 16th. I don't want to get into it, but it is interesting to see what's going on because the Japan crashed overnight. So we're on that. Do you guys did you have any idea that it happened?
I overheard one of our friends on the beach yesterday say something about it.
Okay.
And that was the extent of it for me.
Okay. You guys, on a day-to-day basis, whatever's going on in the global markets does not permeate your brains. I don't mean that as a negative way. I just know you guys are not finance guys. I know that. I like getting different
pretty
opinions.
much zero.
Okay.
I'll see it.
Yeah, you see the Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq at the bottom of the screen on the morning.
If I was on vacation. If I was on vacation yesterday, I would have at some point seen.
Yeah, you'd have gotten wind of it.
I would have gotten wind of it.
You'd have been on the subway and you see it scrolling.
Sure, or whatever. I'll
Okay.
catch up on the news in some way, and I would have, yes. But on vacation, no. I know I'm keeping abreast of like the Yankee scores, but not the market. No, that's
right.
Yeah.
It's funny you raised that point. Like you said, you watch the Yankee scores and whatnot, and so I'm the opposite in that regard because I really don't like. I followed the Yankees here and there, but probably because I saw the box scores on the news the way you would see like the Dow and the S&P,
the main headline of the whatever.
They just like put like a print up of what the thing was.
Yeah.
So like it's like equal but opposite. You know, like I woke up and the first thing I checked was like what are markets doing going into the new week. So a lot of guys who are like traders and whatnot will follow it like sports scores. Like they want to know what's going on, and it's like keeping the Yankees game on in your ear, the announcer's giving you the play-by-play. It's the difference between wanting to listen to the play-by-play and see what's going on intraday as the markets are moving, versus just getting those box scores at the end of the day.
Outcome of the day or whatever.
I was thinking about that just the other day with that whole bit.
So I admit it, like does not permeate my brain on a day-to-day basis, but this like crash or whatever, like, and again, totally novice question. Like, I do feel like there was some over the how many months like talk of like recession. A lot of people like recession's coming.
Yeah.
Is this how is this related? Is that true? A recession's coming. What is my take? Like expert take on that in relation to what happened yesterday?
I will take the bait on that because I don't get to just like rant about what I actually think about.
Set you up with an alley-oop.
So again, like we're recording August 6th, but it's not going to drop till August 16th.
Lock and chain.
So I'm not going to avoid like talking about the day-to-days of other markets because it's not that relevant. So basically, what's happened is, let me give you what I'll do it. I'll explain it this way. The concern is that the Federal Reserve raised interest rates in 2022, very abruptly and very like strong. Like mortgage rates all tripled, and it was a real problem. So the arguments, both sides, is that either the arguments that is going to cause a recession are because suddenly everybody has to pay a lot more for money. That's very simplistically the argument. And it's going to drag everything down. It means nobody's going to want to take out a loan, start a business. Nobody's going to do all that shit. That's the argument. The argument that is not going to impact it is that the economy is so strong that even though interest rates have gotten that much higher, there will be enough people who are still going to buy a house, and enough people will still take out that loan and do that stuff, that it will be okay. And the reason that they had to raise interest rates in the first place is because inflation was so bad. And the only tool one can use to fight inflation is by raising interest rates to slow down those loans and things, when you're measuring that prices are rising, the reason prices are rising is multi-factored. It's very complex inflation. But what they're saying is that the only tool we have to fight inflation, to prevent inflation, is by raising our interest rates to essentially knock down one of the many multi-factors that cause inflation. That's the best we can do. These other things are just going to do what they can do with no control over it. Things like the price of oil. We can't control the price of oil directly. So what price of oil does is I can't control that as the Federal Reserve. But what we can do is make money more expensive. And so we're going to do that to try to tame inflation. And we're going to do the best we can, but it's crude and it's like mediocre at best in being able to do the job. But that's the only tool we have.
It can only do so much.
We only have a hammer, so we have to use our hammer. So they did. They hammered away and raised interest rates. The implication of that is loans become much more expensive, like people stop buying houses, and then there's all the knock-on effects of that. You don't buy a house, you don't go to Home Depot to buy a bunch of crap, you don't go buy furniture to furnish the house. There's all sorts of knock-on effects to that, which are supposed to contract the economy, because that's no longer happening. So if it contracts too much, that's a recession. Everybody starts losing their jobs because nobody's buying furniture. The guy who works at Home Depot loses a job because nobody's going to Home Depot because nobody bought a house. Because it's it's called the multiplier effects of things, and that's like what they're doing. So they're trying to slow everything down so that inflation stops, but not enough that it creates a crash. And that's an extremely delicate thing to do in an extremely complex system. So at best, they're going to be like, they're using a crude tool. It's like it's like they are using a rusty set of pliers to perform a very fine-tuned surgery on a human being. Like, right. it's like nurse, hand me the scalpel. Here's your rusty pliers. Yeah. Nurse, hand me a clamp. You still have to use those rusty pliers. It's like, that's all I got, Doc. That's all I got, Doc.
It's dangerous.
So he's just gonna give it his best. It's like the dentist closing up a wound for a mafia boss in like the basement of his dentist office. It's like you want some Novocaine? Like this is the best we can do.
This is where you gotta get done.
This is what you gotta do.
Hospitals, no hospitals.
So that's like the playing field that this whole thing operates on.
Right.
That's a much more, I think, accurate gauge of the area. So when you're dealing with that, if you're a Wall Street trader, think of you as like a guy on the side making bets, deciding, hey, you think the doc's going to give him like an infection? Do you think he's going to live through it? Do you think he's going to bleed out? And they're all placing bets through all different things about whether or not the Federal Reserve is going to be able to bring down inflation without causing a recession. Right. So you ask any Tom, Dick, and Harry, they're going to have their own opinions because there's such a wide variety of outcomes.
Sure.
The way it seems to finally now be playing out, which is why we're getting to where we are, is the inflation measure that came out in July. I think it was July. It would have been the July measurement that came out at the very beginning of August. Indicated that inflation is finally down enough.
Okay.
It's largely implied that inflation is finally down enough. Therefore, the Federal Reserve can now lower interest rates.
Right.
So the bet is not just will they lower it, but by how much.
Right.
The problem, though, is that in conjunction with that, so it looks like, yes, we finally got inflation licked. The jobs reports indicated that those guys at Home Depot and whatnot are getting laid off because nobody's doing anything.
Right.
So now it's like they've you have something very fragile in your hands and it drops and now you're bumbling it because you want to catch it before it hits the ground and shatters.
Right.
So that job report indicates that it slipped out of your hands. You lost control a little bit. And so now the argument is very suddenly, it's like you're panicking. Like, oh shit, I gotta catch that before it hits the ground. The jobs report is indicating that people are now losing their jobs and it's gonna become a problem and we're gonna go too far into a recession. Right. So we're gonna have that. Now the Federal Reserve has to suddenly lower interest rates. Oh shit, we did it.
It's like the pulling the parachute.
Yes, it's like you're trying to wait as long as you can to pull the ripcord, and now it's like you pull the ripcord and you're like, shit, where's the emergency ripcord? That's kind of what's happening now, but on an economic time scale. These arguments, in the analogy, you're talking about something that it slips out of your hand and it's 3 seconds of panic.
Right.
3 seconds of panic in any modern situation is actually equivalent to more like 18 months of economic growth. Mm-hmm. You're watching this stuff play out over months.
Yeah.
Because there's a lag, and they have to gather all the data and stuff, and that's what happens. The thing is, we finally come to that crescendo where we're saying both trigger lines have hit in the same month, where inflation has finally come down, but the jobs thing it's finally flipped.
Right.
And now it's this whole big oh shit, now what do we do?
Right.
And so as a result of that, certain central banks, because this is a global phenomenon.
Sure. Yeah.
Japan, in particular, is the reason they moved their rates. That's what triggered So Japan moved their rates, and that caused the Japan stock market to crash because a lot of the bond markets in Japan also had a problem because they moved interest. They flinched. They moved first.
Got it.
And then that very quickly goes kind of spirals around the world because everybody has to readjust.
Everybody can.
Yeah. so in a very interesting way, that's sort of what is going down.
Right. Okay.
In a very high level analogous sort of way. That's sort of what's happening. Okay. And the key takeaways of that is the time scale of it is different. But we have happened to hit this threshold point very, very recently. So now it's what's going to happen? Yeah.
So it's an uncertain time.
Yeah. So but my guess is that interest rates in the United States will come down probably at least a quarter point, maybe a half a point. this fall, like September and October, like because they'll meet like twice. I don't know if they'll do 25 and 25, or if they might just do like 50. So like we're doing it.
Right.
If they then we'll see what happens. But then it becomes like how do we react to that? So you kind of have to play it like bit by bit.
Right.
So, but
buy beach houses next year is what I got.
You're gonna buy beach houses?
Right? No, not
that's not where we're going? Okay.
I've just heard that it's a terrible time to buy a house currently. So.
It is not a very good time to buy a house. A friend of the show and my old business partner, it does like mortgage work and whatnot, and he's told me, he's like, luckily, like we're okay, but yeah, it's like it's a very lean time right now.
Yeah,
so
I've heard. Yeah.
But what are you gonna do, right?
All these things go in cycles, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, so it's like you just gotta, and this is normal. Like so it'll be all right. But now you know, and the more you know.
Thank you for that.
That was a great lesson. Right. Yeah. I feel a lot smarter now.
Oh, good. Well, that's what we try to do here. All right, so we're making good time here. We have more time if we want to continue talking. So I guess I want to open it. You're asking me a question. You asked me a question, and that was my answer.
Yeah.
So like normally I like to get some information out of my guests, but like, do you add any other economic questions for me? Like I would love to go do another round of that.
Economics. My brother just bought a house, so I got to see how that was.
Oh, he wasn't pleased with the interest rate?
Not necessarily the interest rate. It's just like you have to pull the trigger at this point. Yeah. It's like one of those things. It's like this is the best I got, so like this is what I got to do.
You mean in terms of what you can afford, or the best interest rate you could get, or
literally the entire scenario?
Okay.
Whether it's the house, the area, the price, the interest rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck. Because that's kind of like, and the houses are like
crazy.
$1 million house right now is like, I remember $1 million back in the day was like, or a few years ago, it was like, wow, that's a lot of money. And now it's like,
it's just par for the course.
Yeah,
your brother just bought a house. My brother was looking for houses, and he they just had one that they thought they put the offer in on. They thought they got it, and then someone at the last minute came in and beat them. And then a couple days later, they had another offer in our house. They thought it was all good, and then my brother and his wife actually pulled out at the last minute. So it's like, to your point, and I'm not like I don't know the specifics of everything with them, but it's like, to your point, like I think like it's probably a time where like you have to just like you got to be confident in what you want, and also, but maybe you have to sacrifice a little bit.
Yeah.
Because like you're not going to find the perfect house for the best price in the best location. Like you have to kind of. Is this good for us for now? You know, and like if that's what you want to do, I think you've got to just go for it.
Yeah,
you know?
It's wild.
So, yeah,
and to spend that much money just to be like, fuck it, whatever.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, right? So I say that, but at the same time, it's like just do it. It's not gonna be perfect. It's like spending $950,000 on a home. This is not like
it's
you're not like taking it back to you're not gonna return it. Have a little buyer's remorse. Like it's a huge decision, obviously. So. But it just seems like a tough time, like to hold out for like the perfect, It's
never gonna come,
right?
And like right now, it's just, and I hope that there's people who are moving and shaking in the next few years, so they can open up things like a first-time home buyer, like guys that I work with.
They're screwed.
They're never getting houses.
They're screwed. Now I'm not gonna specify where you work per se, but in your line of work, do you have like union help on first-time home buyers and stuff like that? Is that a benefit that you kind of get? Because I wonder, like when we bought our house, I'm like Canadian all of a sudden. When we bought our house, it was just us. It was us and our laurels and our credit score, and we just like applied straight up. We didn't use any sort of like program or anything like that. But I know like there are a lot of cool things that can help people get into a house. So like, for example, maybe they'll give you like they will back it and they'll give you a discount on rate or something of those nature. That's a common thing. Like if you work at a bank, for example, and you get your mortgage through that bank, they will sometimes give you like a quarter point off your mortgage because you're an employee there.
Right.
I'm wondering if like in your line of work you get that sort of benefits. Because I know you get some interesting stuff.
So there's first-time home buyers, first responders do get military. First responders, they all get.
That's another. Military is another one that I kind of was thinking of.
So we all get kind of like branched in together. Depending on where you live, yes.
Okay.
And banks do look into that.
Okay.
For the most part, you're gonna have a steady job, so they kind of like think.
That's the way to think of it.
That's kind of like
yeah.
So you're kind of a sure thing. As like messed up as it sounds, like
I know, but that makes perfect logical sense if you're in like that makes a lot of sense.
So you're as a sure thing, you're kind of like, well, you get a paycheck, you're gonna get paid, so
you're gonna give us some of that.
Yeah. So like it's always one of those things where it's like. It's not they're giving away anything, but it's a little something that does help.
A little less risky, so we're going to play a little ball with you, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's good stuff. That's like the value of being in those steady roles and whatnot.
Yeah. Does have
it has its perks.
A little bit.
Yeah. Compared to me, who I've collected unemployment in 4 different states. I'm like on the run. I feel like I'm on the run from the law or something. Like he's like skipping down the East Coast, and he keeps losing jobs and shit.
Something going on with this guy.
It's like let's keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
That is a very. So my point is more so that I'm in a very different type of headspace when it comes to like my affordability and my thinking through those types of decisions. Where I know you're kind of like the polar opposite of it, and sometimes the grass is greener.
Yes and no. So like one of the big things like just between you and I
our audience.
I cannot tomorrow they can't just be like, oh cool, pack your shit and get out. Like that's not something that can happen.
That can't happen.
So stress wise, that's pretty cool.
100%.
That's one thing. I've never been I've never actually been laid off. There was a time early in my career where there was a possibility, but due to 2009, I first started.
Yeah.
And I was going through the academy. They were talking about, you guys might get laid off. The state was in a fiscal crisis, and
yeah, okay.
It was it was really bad, and we were like, "What? That's kind of crazy."
There was a state shutdown that
real
year.
Thing.
Remember? Yeah,
and it actually happened. And guys from all over the state got actually laid off, and it was one of those things where it was like, "Well, I guess that could really happen."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think that scared a lot of people because that was one of those things where it's like, all right, if you're laying off cops, firefighters, stuff people that are first responders, town workers. Well, anybody can get hit then.
Yeah.
And that's something that's wild and I'm not saying that I'm better, but it's one of those things
teachers fall into that category too.
Correct.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
Yep. DPW guys, the essential workers, it's it's kind of crazy.
Essential worker takes on a whole. You're talking about something that happened 10 years before COVID, but you're saying you're saying essential workers, and now that has this whole new connotation to it. Everybody thinks of an essential worker as a very different thing. Suddenly the DoorDash guy is an essential worker.
The guy at the liquor store who's giving you your beers.
Right.
A DPW guy who, when there's a storm or something, has got to come out and cut down trees when it's blocking the road, stuff like that. Should they get hooked up? Yeah, 100%. Because that guy's when you're stuck in your house and there's nothing going on and the electric's down and that's something that
I agree. I agree with you on that. Wall Street is generally not union, right? It's anything but. Wall Street's very anti-union, but I am actually very I get the argument in favor of a lot of it. I really do. I'm very pro union and making sure that those people that do those things are taken care of. I get it and I 100% agree with it. You know what I mean? So, but I don't have any firsthand experience with it. So I like to pick the brain of people who are involved with it to get the skinny on it. The inside bit. Because I know there's also a dark side to it. I know that. I've seen The Irishman. I get it. Yeah. Unions have their flaws.
Sure.
I know that.
Anything else.
It's not that real.
I was in Union City, the Democratic boss that lives out of Union City. I get it. I know that stuff exists too. Don't get me wrong. I just I just think it's awesome and want to watch movies about it.
Yeah. Right. He was an interesting fella.
He was in. Yeah. I think there are one of those things in an ideal world don't exist, but in an ideal world, unions, everybody should be in a union. But
in some capacity.
In theory, it does. In theory, it's great. In practice, it's not exactly that easy. But I just think, to your point, it's the sort of protections, and maybe that's a strong word, but I'll say that the protections that the workers, the people who do the work should get, I think, can be stronger across the board, and maybe not everybody needs or should get the sort of strong protections that essential workers, first responders do get. But like, you know, we're talking about massive corporations that are raking in lots of money and are lay off this worker, cut cut hours, this, you know, and it's like those people they don't have any protection with, you know, as being an employee. You're essentially everybody's like an at-will employee, and it's just like boom, you're out. And like you said, like essentially that like can't happen to you, and I think you earned that and deserve that. I just think that's something that, again, maybe not fully across the board for everybody who has a job in the world, but should be something that is a little bit more available to working people.
I'm just to piggyback off that. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just to piggyback off that, like, not the union, my fault. So like, how you guys like work an overtime thing where a guy's like, oh, hey man, listen, Chris, can you stay for this paperwork? I get paid for that.
Right.
For you like, well, if you say no, like, the guy's gonna get, well, fuck you, pack your shit, get out.
Yeah.
But like, if everybody collectively was like, you know what, well, fuck this guy, we're gonna all walk out and now nobody's gonna work. That's like, that's where the unions come in, and it's like collectively strong. Mm-hmm. Everybody is strong with that.
Yeah.
And like being by yourself with that, you're like fighting an uphill battle where you're always gonna lose.
Yeah.
The guy's just gonna like, dude, I'll find somebody else. I don't know. It is what it is.
Right.
Like, and that to me is like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
That's, like that feels like we all have the same bills. Like our kids go to schools, we like, and then you have to worry about some asshole who's got a hard on who's gonna be like, that to me, I never understood, and I always thought that was very disrespectful.
Yeah. And
like where the union stuff comes in, and it's like, I would 100% back you guys and be like, dude, your management's wrong in something like that.
Right.
That's terrible.
Right. Exactly.
Fair wages and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I mean, the salaried employee, like, look, there's like, in the corporate world, it's like you're a salaried employee, like you get all these benefits and all this other stuff, but like, you know, a lot of people that are salaried employees are pulling 65 out of 70-hour weeks and stuff, and working weekends and all this at night. I'll tell you, this email, you're always on, right?
I'll tell you that if you work at a Wall Street investment bank, 70 hours a week is an easy week.
Right.
Yeah. They're like the average of some of them is 90 hours a week.
Right. Which is crazy.
Yeah. So I never got involved with that side of it. I've always been on the trading side. So I've always been on the trading side, which is really bound by the hours the markets are open, which really help contain the hours. And that was something I always appreciated. Like, if the market's not open, you can't do your job. Right. It's just the beginning, middle, and end.
Weekends, holidays, this, that.
Yeah. The investment banking side is basically like, if there's 168 hours in a week, what do you need? 3 hours to sleep? So you'll work 164 hours. You know, they don't care at all, and they will work insane hours, and they'll travel, and they're grinding away, and they're doing all this stuff. And it doesn't take you very long being in the industry to hear about some real nightmarish horror stories about those sort of hours.
Sure. Yeah.
The thing is, though, to some extent, like, that's the trade-off, right? Like, they're doing all of that. Yeah. They're a salaried employee, and they're doing all of that work because the expectation is you're going to be 24 and you're going to take home $250,000 that year.
Right.
As a first-year guy.
Sure.
Like, that's the carrot at the end of the stick.
Yeah.
You know, so and everybody says, like, oh, I'll do it for like 2 years and I'll bank some cash and then I'll go get something more normal. And whether that happens or not is anyone's guess.
Sure.
But
some people it does,
some people do, some doesn't. But like, that's the gambit. It's like, I'm gonna be a slave for X number of years, but you're gonna pay through the nose to have me be there, and I'm gonna get that money. You know, on the other side, if you're like an hourly employee, you gotta like bill the hours and stuff like that. And I'm finding myself more and more ingrained in consulting style work, whereas like I bill hourly.
Yeah.
And so the tough part about this is like I have like really shitty benefits. Like, it's basically like I bill you and I get my hourly paycheck and that's it. Like, I kind of get, you know, like I have healthcare and stuff like that, but like I don't get like sick days per se. Sure. Like, I don't get vacation days.
My wife's a full-time freelancer.
It's just
the same thing. Yeah.
So the result is that I try to leverage that best I can to fit my own schedule. So we're down on vacation here and whatnot, and like I ain't getting paid this week.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
But not know how was gonna tell me to reschedule my vacation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to coordinate with the other guy who's going to be covering me. Like, oh, we both want
for you to go.
Yeah, like that is not a thing that exists. I don't ask to take time off. I just tell them I will not be here these days, and I know that I'm not getting paid for it, and that's just what I've figured out. So, like, I do it that way, you know, because like, and it's the difference between being salaried versus the kind of consulting, you just bill it out. So it's pros and cons. That's kind of what I'm driving at.
Yeah. I'll give you a con because the wheels are rolling again.
Go ahead.
So like a con like that you have to hustle, you have to work. You don't work, you don't get paid.
Right.
Let's go to any government agency. You go and hey, talk to the clerk, and she looks at you like you have 10 heads and goes, 2 minutes is my lunch break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's that.
And then like you got like that stuff where it's like, all right, well, they suck, and they probably shouldn't be working there, and that's where people get protected, and it's it's annoying.
Right. Sure.
Because there's guys who work their asses off and they're awesome and they're great, and then you got the guys who suck, and those are the ones that outshine the good people.
Right. But the difference though is that they know they could be. They can't be like let go that easily.
Right. There's nothing.
Like if I don't perform my duties, like if I'm not doing my job, they'll let me go.
Right.
You know, like I have to deliver on top of it. They just so there's I can't do I know I'm not going to be able to just like and sit around and do nothing.
Yeah. And that's where the protections come in, and you're like, well, can you like maybe pretend to do your job?
Right. Why not? I think it's like for me it's like anything else. It's like be reasonable. Right. There's a balance here. Like I'm a salaried employee. I have vacation time. I'm off this week. Like my boss. I have really like two bosses. Like one I won't hear from all week. The other one like I might, even though he knows I'm on vacation. Like he may, even if it's not like to do something, I may have a question about something. Like I'm not gonna throw a fit about it. Be like I'm on vacation. I'm not answering any work texts. I'm like it's fine, but like it's a two-way like respectful street. Like don't sort of abuse the like I'm off the clock.
Right.
Don't do not talk to me ever, or like my lunch break is in 2 minutes, so like this is gonna take me 5.
Yeah.
Come back in an hour when I'm like no, but it's to me it's like be reasonable, show respect, and I feel like everybody like it's but you get hardline people in sort of either way that are like disrespectful people who are like off, right? Like no, like I don't care if this person's on vacation. Like this is I'm you got to get something done right now. And it's like that's not respectful, but also and I think it's you build good relationships with the people you work with. So like I'm fortunate to be in my company for 12 years now, and I've had one of my bosses has been there with me the entire time. So we have a great relationship. So I know if he were to ask me to do something, like I know that it's super, it's super important, or like he really needs my help, and I can carve out some time to, because we have a really good relationship. So I think like workplace cultures and stuff like that are really important, because I feel like that's like really where like all that type of stuff of like on vacation, off the clock, on the clock, I'm a salaried employee, no overtime, this type, all that stuff kind of like it can kind of go away if you really get along with and are on the same page with the people you work with. I think that's an important part of it.
Well, how big is your company overall? Or how is it like how big does it feel to you effectively, maybe just like your department? Like, as if it's like, just
big in terms of like importance, or like...
Well, I'm saying like, are you working with the same like 12 dudes for like, years and years and years? Or have you like...
Yeah, I'm a pretty small team, but there's like 7 or 8 of us, and like 5 of us have been together for at least 7-8 years now.
Okay, so that's like you become friends, work friends, but friends.
But it's a big company. We're like 12,000 employees worldwide.
Okay, I got
and then we're part of we have a holding company that's
God knows what.
God knows what employees worldwide. So and we are a centralized department that deals with the whole company. We're an advertising agency, so there's agencies all over the world. New York is the hub, and we're it's the global hub. So we're in New York. We, our work does affect sort of everybody else not everybody in the agency, but all the communications people in the agencies, whatever. But yeah, so like it's a small team, but we do have a pretty like wide net responsibility.
Right.
But we have enough. Again, we have a good rapport, so like we can kind of pick up for each other when need be and stuff. So I think that's what's the biggest thing. Again, to me, it's like workplace culture, team, sort of like how strong your team is, your relationships and stuff. I think that stuff's huge. I think it gets you get away from all that like sort of nitpicky stuff if you get along well and stuff.
I love having a good team around me, having good people. My line of work, trust and respect is huge.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If I don't trust you,
I get that. I can see how that plays out.
Respect goes a long way. If I talk to you shitty, I expect it back. If I talk to you like a gentleman, I should be given back.
Right.
It's very basic things, but younger people, I feel like have like a major issue with like, I'm talking to you, look me in the eyes.
Really?
I don't know why that's such a big problem. Shake somebody's hand, you know.
Yeah.
Be like
be like a
normal
sort of
person instead of just
proper norms. That's what I was
saying. It's interesting to hear that as like I've heard about stuff like that with younger millennials, Gen Z, whatever. They have like less of a social, I don't know what you say, threshold, minimum expectation, whatever you want to say. And some of it was COVID. They suddenly went to lockdown when they were like 14, and like all this shit they have to now deal with is over Zoom. And they do, I know all the technology arguments for it. Yeah. It is interesting to hear it just from a boots on the ground person who's actually interacting with people all day and seeing it like actually like verifying that that's true. Like saying like, oh yeah, they are like that.
They're weird. They're just. But you know what I think? It's just how they've been brought up for many years now. It's one of those things where like, dude, they can't date. They can't go to bars. They can't do anything. If it's not on their phone, they can't do it. It's wild.
Yeah.
Or you have to literally hold their hand and bring them to do what you want.
Oh my gosh.
It's the wild. It's like having a child. It's like kind of messed up because it's like. They're more than willing and capable to do it. They just don't have the tools.
They want to do it. They just don't know. That's interesting. It's like a 3-year-old who wants to pour juice, and you're like, oh, Jesus.
Go into the fridge, open the door, get the juice, and undo the cap, or get the cup, pour it in the cup, and
then the cup spills, and it's like, all right,
pour it in yourself.
You knew it was going to happen.
In my mouth. That would all.
Sorry, my fault.
Yeah, got it.
And these are not children in
no
work. Who's the youngest person to get?
Well, what? They're like 24,
21, 22. Okay. I've had young kids. So I've had guys after 9/11. 9/11 is very big in the tri-state area. Just in police and first responders.
Sure.
And there's guys and girls who've been born after 9/11.
Right. Who are now in your
I can hold you guys, and you guys know exactly where you were on that day.
Yeah.
You can almost verbatim say what it is, and these guys don't like. They don't know.
I'm sorry. I've been in New Jersey for 3 days. This is the 4th independent time 9/11 has come up. My parents were here this morning. They were talking about 9/11. Like you are not joking when you say suddenly like 9/11 is a point of reference in conversation more times than anyone wants to admit, and it somehow leans towards the summer down the shore. I don't know why that's true, but I feel like it's like nobody talks about it. When you're at World Trade Center, it's like
maybe in your life, maybe
it's like I'm sorry, but it's amazing. This is the 4th time 9/11 has come up. I've been in New Jersey for 3 days.
That is a weird thing. Yeah, that's strange. I don't know how.
Maybe it's just me because I'm diving into it, but it's like the 4th fucking time. I've been here 3 days.
Well, they did have the thing about the guys who were the masterminds. They just kind of like let them off, or there was something with their.
There was the news. Yeah, they were deciding what they were going to do with the plea deal.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. God only knows what that'll actually be again when this drops.
No. So another thing. Another thing. 10 days in the future.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you were saying that they don't know 9/11 was. They don't have a first-hand memory of 9/11.
Yeah.
People who are now in the workforce at World Trade Center.
At World Trade Center.
They don't have a first-hand memory of it. That's interesting.
And it's very crazy to like. That literally was like the day I think all of our lives have changed, and like freedoms and everything has changed from that day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was just like one of those like I specifically remember we were supposed to have a football game, and I remember coming home and nothing happening and just jets flying around. Like that's just something weird that I remember that I had. But like they'll never like they're just lackadaisical, and they're just like this is like I remember school shootings was like kind of the thing for us like too. Like that shit was crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's what I wonder. Yeah, too, because
to be fair, they have school shootings.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. It's like so we had we almost were like the generation who had the first big ones, like the Columbine thing. We were like young, we were middle school or whatever. Yeah, and then I feel like these kids.
That shit was crazy.
It was it might have been earlier. Then like the people you're talking about, they probably they grew up. They must have grown up doing drills, lockdown drills and stuff. Which they do in our schools and stuff now.
I have done.
I get it.
Yeah.
But it's wild to me.
I had to do one from a teacher's perspective. Like I was substitute teaching that day, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have this thing at like 2 p.m." And I'm like, "All right," and then we had to like do it. But that was, I think, the first time I was actually engaged in one, because as a student, when I was like, they did not yet have them in the schools.
We didn't do them.
I did not do fire drills. We do fire drills, but I did not have like active shooter drills. I guess.
My oldest had an activation where the nurse picked up the phone and said that there was an active shooter.
It's not a drill?
It came over as not a drill. We all got notifications on my phone. I'm on my way up to work. I'm on the turnpike.
Did she mistakenly think there was?
I don't know what the hell she was doing. No, she just pressed the wrong button. And it activated.
Oh, it activated.
I would hope it's like a big red button that has like a cover on it.
I think it's like a code or something.
Oh my god!
Yikes. I'm going up the turnpike. I'm almost by Kearney. By 13. So I go up and I see a trooper on the side of the road. I was like, "Hey man, did you hear anything going on?" He's like, "No."
Pulled over.
I pulled over. I asked him. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be cutting over. Just a heads up. I'm going back home." I'm on my way to work. I call my wife. I'm like, "Yo, what's going on?" She's like, "I don't know. I'm heading over to the school right now."
Oh my god!
I'm getting the chills thinking about it.
You get an active. You got a legitimate active shooter
at my son's school.
At your son's school.
And I'm like, "Oh boy." I was like, if I get it's going to take me 25 minutes to get there. I was like, if I get there and it's still going on, doesn't matter what I'm doing. So I'm maintaining the speed limit, going down the Parkway South, getting onto the Parkway.
Oh my god.
I get 15 minutes closer to my house.
Yeah.
And my wife goes, "Oh, they cleared it. It was the nurse."
Oh my god.
And I was like, I pulled over to the side of the road.
You're like, the adrenaline must have been.
Yeah. I was like,
that's wild. That's never happened to me. And
no,
that never does.
And I'm calling guys from work. I'm like, get to the school now. I'll be there as soon as I can. And they get there and they're like, no, it's good, it's clear. And there were multi-agencies, state.
The hell the principal probably had to deal with for days after that. Every parent got that.
Phenomenal.
There's suddenly 10,000 people in the neighborhood think that there's an active shooter situation at the elementary school.
But shout out to the first responders that went there. Crazy shit. That's not what you want to do. Great response. It's a good learning experience, good learning tool. Everybody's you see how traffic patterns are. You get to see a lot of things. Good tool, good response. Glad everything worked out.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those things that you just, when it happens.
That is wild.
A little pucker action.
Yeah, I would say so. I can't imagine what would happen in our neighborhood if that happened by mistake. The hell that everybody would be raising, and that's just the chatter about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. To say nothing of the fact that that nurse. That nurse.
She probably feels.
It was
however you feel for her, she feels worse.
It was her first day. So
it was her first day.
That's the best part.
That's a great end to that. That's a great button on that story.
It really is.
First day.
I'm out. See you guys later.
Yeah. Whatever coach she's trying to put in, and then she's just like, didn't work. What did I?
Why is there so many?
Oh, that was the active shooter.
Oh,
whoops!
One of the kids just threw up on the desk.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, you know what, guys? I can't think of a better way to end than on that hell of a note.
Sorry.
That was a whimsical story. I went on ups and downs, but it was a good way to polish things off. We are coming up on time though, so I want to thank you guys for being here this month. I hope you guys had some fun and we got to talk through some stuff. So again, this drops August 16th. We were in August expiration, and for everybody, we have the Substacks drops every Tuesday. We're on Instagram, YouTube, X, Facebook. Don't forget to check out the store. You can check out some swag on the store. I saw somebody who a relative of mine bought one of the hats in the store, and he was wearing it, and I saw him the other day, and I got to see it, and the hats, I was like, oh cool, I saw one out in the wild for the first time. That was cool. So check out the store. We got some swag there, and stuff rotates in and out, so I'll keep posting the new stuff as it comes up. But so guys, before we sign off, is there any last words or parting wisdoms you want to give about what anything? Don't do drugs, stay in school. That's really all it boils down to.
Stay hungry, stay humble.
There you go.
Stay hungry, stay humble.
All right. Well, all right. Thanks, everybody.